Hello, everybody. It is May the 9th, 2025, and I'm here with my sister. And Kathy gave me a call an hour or so ago and said she's in the mood to hang out with you guys. And I didn't sleep good last night, but I dreamed. I had very vivid dreams. I rarely, if I dream, I rarely remember my dreams. But this one was really vivid. And I still can't remember details about it, but it was me and a girl, and we were running. We were escaping something, some kind of danger. We were on the run, me and a girl. And it woke me up, and I couldn't really get back to sleep good, after that dream. But it was really, I don't remember details, just that it was really intense and vivid. And I rarely do that. I rarely remember dreams, and I rarely really get really any, vivid dreams or, anything really deep or anything like that. So anyway, but yeah, I'm ready to hang with you and hang with any folks that might be watching. And Kathy is a mama, and she will have a special day for her in a few days. Is it Saturday?
And
Is it
I,
tomorrow?
I don't know, Jay. I had a big birthday on April 26th. Okay, it wasn't big, but it was my 69th. I'm still alive. I woke up again this morning. Miracles are come true. But my daughter and grandson were sick. They had a respiratory infection. And my son-in-law and my granddaughter were healthy. So my daughter drove them over. They brought me a big box full of all kinds of birthday goodies. My daughter collects throughout the year stuff she knows I will love and brings them. They brought that over. So, April couldn't get out of the car and I couldn't go near her because I can't get that mess. But I always tell them my birthday is so close to Mother's Day and they do over amount for my birthday. They really do. That please don't get me anything for Mother's Day. We'll just tell each other Happy Mother's Day. And then about 10 days ago, there was it's about 20 pounds worth of Miracle Grow dirt was on sale for like $7.88 at Walmart. And I'm like, well, I don't. And then the light bulb goes ding, 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 ding. My daughter's got a bunch of container gardens. So I ordered it, had it delivered. And that's her Mother's Day gift from her mom. So I told her, I said, April, tap, 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 text, text, text. We text. I said, I've got this big bag of Miracle Grow that I got you for Mother's Day. If y'all can come get it. And she said, okay, Darren and I, her husband, will come get it. And I said, well, it's on the porch leaned up against the wall, so come get it. Nobody was going to just walk by, pick it up and walk off with it unless you could lift pretty good. So they came. She sent me a text early one morning. God bless her for not waking me up early one morning. But I see them pretty often. They're just in the next city. But anyway, and she said, Mom, we got the dirt. Oh, thank you. I need her peas. No, her beans. She had to repot some of her beans because they're just, showing out. I got to turn this fan on, y'all. I'm getting hot. Anyway, back to you, Jay.
Well, it's Sunday. Mother's Day is Sunday.
Oh, so there you go.
Any mother out there that's watching, Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. And if you're a pet parent, Happy Mother's Day. Jay, you should get Happy Father's Day because you take care of your cats. Pets matter.
Yeah. And yesterday was a surprise to me, and I watched it. I watched the unveiling or whatever they call the Pope, whatever when a new Pope is elected or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And it's an American. I think he's from Chicago. And it's in like 2,000 year history. There's never been an American Pope. and we've got an American Pope. Leo, I think is the name he chose. Leo.
Yeah, Leo the 16th, I believe.
And there's been they talked about there's been a few Leos throughout the centuries, throughout the years, but there's never been an American, and it's like I say, it's like 1,000 years or 2,000 years or something like that. There's never been an American Pope, and
there is one now.
And it's been watching on TV, watching like his brothers, talking about him, growing up with him and all that, and it's just. I think that's really interesting that we've got.
This is your grandfather on your mother's side. That is your grandmother on your mother's side. And I don't know anybody that looks like Nanny. I think we all got our genes from our grandfather. It's hard to tell, but he's got the nose like me and Jay and the fair skin like me and Jay. And when I ran across this, I got to get me a frame for it. But when I ran across it, I'm like, oh my gosh. He died a few years before I was born. But I knew her on up to my freshman year in high school. And, she was in nursing home by then. But anyway, they had 7 kids. I know, right?
That's the only grandparent I ever remember was Nanny.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of pictures of me holding her hand. And I never knew her outside of the nursing home. I only knew her in the nursing home. And I remember being kind of scared of her because she was so old. She just, not really scared of her, but just, I don't know. I don't know how to explain.
Well, she wasn't all that familiar to us. Now, when I started driving at 16 and she was in nursing home there in Mahia, I'd go up there and sit with her and visit with her. But bless her heart, I think she had dementia because, the last few years because no, I was 14 and dating a 16-year-old. That's what it was. And he'd take me up there. Cyril would take me up there. And I would sit for a couple of hours with Nanny. He'd drop me off and I'd stay with Nanny because she died when I was a freshman. So it probably wasn't very long after that she passed. But anyway, I remember doing that about 4 or 5 times. Teenagers, we got a lot going on, And I was still having my dad at the store. So during the summer, I would go home, eat, take a shower, and sleep, get up, go to work, It wasn't child labor. I got paid for it, but still, your dad runs this place. You go help, But anyway, when I ran across that picture, I said, we got his nose. Bunch of us. My daughter's got this nose. My granddaughter. Yeah. And here is a picture. I try to get matte, but they sent me glossy. It's a picture. It's hard to see it, isn't it? Okay, there you go. Best you can see it. Anyway, it's a picture of Bigfoot holding a guitar. There you go. Bigfoot holding a guitar that's a little better. Bigfoot holding a guitar. And it is in front of one of my favorite Day Tripper. Day Tripper headquarters is in the city I live in, Georgetown. I went down there and I said, look, he's got Bigfoot out front with a guitar. So you can watch Day Tripper, the Day Tripper or daytripper.com. Anyway, on YouTube, if you want to learn about all the little bitty Texas cities and some of the big ones, they visit them. They go visit them, talk about the highlights of the area and why people like to go there, and the good places to eat and stuff. So people that are interested in Texas or Texans, look up Day Tripper, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Well, since we're showing family pictures, this is the only picture I know of that's got all of my mama's family.
Yeah, you go tilt it up like that. Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's Uncle Rufus in the blue shirt, far left. Uncle Willie, Uncle Howard, Uncle JW. We call him Uncle Dubby.
Uncle Dubby.
And that's our mama down there in the blue paisley looking shirt. And the light blue shirt is Aunt Dorothy, and my granddaughter's named after her. And yep, 4 brothers. Now there was 3 of them girls. But the very first child that our grandparents had, Carrie, passed away in infancy. So that's why they ended up having they had 6 more after her, because it was so hard on her, And
do you have any idea where this is at? This picture was taken?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they all met, and it's kind of funny. That is Uncle Willie's house in Grand Prairie. They all met there for Christmas one year. Of course, 3 of them, all 4 of the boys were living in the area. And then Mama and Aunt Dorothy, they all drove up, together. But all 4 of the men were already living there. Boys. Yeah. And up top, in the blue shirt, Uncle Rufus there, that's Rufus, in the blue shirt, far left, was like a grandfather to me. Him and Aunt Nett, his wife, were like grandparents to me. And they lived in Fort Worth and White Summit. And I used to go up there all the time as a little kid and, spend weeks on end. They got married when our mama was 3 years old. So Mama was a baby of the family. I love that picture.
Yeah, that's the only picture I know that exists. It's got everybody,
Yeah. And then there's another one with their spouses. They're standing on the front porch of Uncle and Aunt Perry's apartment complex. And they're all there. I mean, think about them. Every one of them had a spouse. And they were all, wives or husbands. And they were all there. And I've got that little snapshot. And that's cool, Now,
I had 2 uncles that I think this is very interesting. I don't know why I think this is so interesting, but I do. One was an uncle by marriage, Uncle J.C., Uncle Buck, Aunt Dorothy's husband, first husband. Uncle Buck, we called him Uncle Buck. So the John Candy movie, when that came out, I said, well, I had an Uncle Buck. So, and I love the movie. I love the movie Uncle Buck because I love John Candy. But anyway, I had an Uncle Buck, but his name was J.C. And I remember one day asking my cousin, his daughter, Joy, what does J.C. stand for? She said, it don't stand for anything, Jay. I said, you're kidding. They just named his parents named him, just picked 2 letters out of their hat or ass or whatever and named him J.C. It don't stand for nothing. She goes, yep, don't stand for anything. I said, you got to be kidding me. And then in the picture of who we called Uncle W, Uncle J.W., right here.
No, that's Uncle Howard. Go over one. Yeah.
Yeah, Uncle J.W.
Yeah.
I was asking Kathy pretty recently, what did J.W. stand for? And she goes, well, I'll do some investigating. And I don't know if you asked Joy or asked someone, and you say, I don't think it stands for anything.
That's one to Jean's daddy. Now I believe it's just J.W.
Just J.W. And I said, you got to be kidding. The idea of just of naming your baby, just picking 2 letters and just naming your baby 2 letters. It just, to me, I don't know why that just hits me so odd, but it does.
Well, back in the 20s, Jay, that's probably not uncommon. They were all born in either the 20s, early 20s, 1920s, or mid 1920s. That might not have been odd to them. No.
What I'll bet, I have no evidence of this, but I'll bet that the letter stood for something. At least in their minds, it stood for something. The JC and the JW. They just, but yeah,
you just can't fathom that it might have been her daddy's name was John, and his and the daddy's name was John, and and Carl. And so they thought, well, let's just do JC. We won't name him after nobody, but we'll use their initials. That could have been. I don't know that. That's not factual.
Well, our daddy, me and Kathy's daddy, was John Carlton. And I think that's how Uncle Buck came to be, because they called Daddy JC. Everyone called Daddy JC. And so I think when Uncle JC would come to visit or whatever, they just said, well, let's pick a name. Let's call you Uncle Buck. You know, I don't know if that's what happened or not, but
no. When our daddy and mother got married, and then he married mother's sister Dorothy, and my they used to go fishing together. They used to do fishing trips. And even back then, they just said, there's the two JCs. Where's the two JCs? That's the way the wives would talk about them, right? And so they were gone on fishing trips a lot. They went, they come back nasty with fish. So, they didn't have to think they weren't doing what they said they was doing. But I do not know, but that has nothing to do with why we called him Uncle Buck. I don't know the history behind that. But I talked to his daughter weekly. Sometimes a couple times a week. So I will ask her, where did your daddy get the name Uncle Buck? Now, also, other than me and you, sorry, I'm having to write, didn't mean to wiggle my phone. I don't know who else called him Uncle Buck, if anybody, right? Might have just been me and you. I don't know.
Huh.
So I don't know. But I'll ask Joy.
I just think that's interesting, but because Daddy was born in 23, Mama was born in 32, and I guess back in the day, just people did things differently, and just.
But I know the story.
Letters, and naming your kid.
Yeah.
2 letters.
I know the story how you got your name. You do too, don't you?
Well, now. I could be wrong about this, but I believe, because Daddy was John Carlton and his daddy was John Carlton. So Daddy was Junior. And I had a cousin, Steve, John, his name was John, or Steve. Steve, he was a real. And he would call Daddy Uncle Junior. And I always thought that was odd. Why do you call him Uncle Junior? And someone explained to me, well, Daddy is a junior. His daddy was John Carlton, and Daddy was.
Yeah, and that's what Donald, Steve's daddy, called Daddy was Junior.
And my understanding is when I was born, I think maybe Mama was going to call me John, but Daddy protested, said, "No, we don't want to burden him with a 3, be John Real the third." And I think wasn't it Aunt Dorothy that suggested Jay?
Nope.
No. Okay. So
I was 9, y'all, and very recollection. In other words, I'm around a bunch of adults, so we get to go in and we see the baby. It's a baby. Get to see Jay. And Uncle Buck and Aunt Dorothy are on one side of Mama's bed. Daddy was already sitting down at Mama's head, pretty much. He was about to hold you. And Mama said, "Jay-Z, we have named this baby." And Uncle Buck and Daddy looked at each other, and I think it was Uncle Buck said, "Why don't y'all name it what we call each other?" Because they didn't call each other JC. And Daddy said, "That's perfect. Fannie Mae, let's call him Jay. Because when we're together, and I'm over here doing something, fixing a motor in a boat, we're out in the middle of nowhere in 100,000 feet water, I'll say, 'Jay, hand me that.'" Uncle Buck did the same thing to Daddy. He'd say, "Jay, hand me, send that jug of water back here, the back part of the boat." So you were named Jay. And then Mama fought and said, "Well, now I want his middle name to be yours." And Daddy said, "Well, that'd be fine. That'd be fine." And she said, "Well, how should we do it? Just Jay?" On the screen is backwards, but anyway, I did it right. and Mom and Aunt Dorothy popped. That's when Aunt Dorothy said, probably heard something about her. That's when she popped up and said, no, let's spell it Jay. Jay. Let's give him, give something besides initial.
So I wouldn't name just a letter like my two uncles.
Thank you, right? Because Aunt Dorothy wasn't having that. She said, no, let's not, y'all. I think we should name him Jay. So, pardon me, it was a conglomerate of the two sisters and the two husbands that named you. And I was all excited. I said, so his name is Jay. And Aunt Dorothy said, don't forget, Jay. And then when out of retaliation, when I was 12 and you were 3, and we'd go to my mother, bring you up to my school functions, or I'd go to your little preschool functions, and you would call me Titty because you couldn't say Sissy. You call me Titty. And I would say, oh, Mother, well, give him a nickname. All right, Jaybird, come here. Jaybird. Well, yours wasn't near as insulting sounding. And see, it would just embarrass me. I turned beet red every time you did it. But you was just a baby. You didn't know you said anything wrong. You didn't know what a titty was, But I laughed till I cried when
growing up, I wasn't Jay, I was JJ. Everyone called me JJ. And Vicky, the little girl, she was a year older than me, but there was a next door neighbor, had a daughter, Vicky Adams. And so I grew up playing with Vicky Adams. I grew up playing with a girl, We play house and stuff, just I didn't know any better because that's what I had. That's who I had to play with. So I grew up playing with a girl, Vicky. And she called me JJ, and the campers, they'd come camp at the campgrounds, whether everyone called me JJ. And so I don't know how I got JJ, but
when I was I don't know. I think the Mama Sue started calling you JJ. Vicky's mama, Vicky and Donna and Patty's mama. But when I started dating, Mom and Dad wouldn't let me car date when I was 14. They started letting me double date with my Donna, the next door neighbor, and her boyfriend when I was 15. But when I was 14, my boyfriends could come out and see me. And we were managing a big marina on this city lake. And there's always something going on there. So Mama and Daddy would say, no, now his parents can bring him here and he can drop him off on a Saturday. You'll be working, but he can spend all day. You can put him to work. I was getting paid, he wasn't, but still. And they started calling Jay Bird. Jay Bird. And I don't know which boyfriend started it. I don't know. But for that year and a half.
It was JJ, Jay Bird, and then that transitioned into Bubba. I became Bubba. You
were Bubba by the time you come home, and I had to sit by your bed.
And then there was a period there, a year or two, I was Bebo. You remember Bebo?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, you called me Bebo. I don't know where Bebo came from, but you called me Bebo.
I don't remember that, and I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, you called me Bebo, and Bubba, and of course
Bubba, yeah. And we still call each other.
A lot of them call me Jay Bird.
Yeah. We still do the Bubba. Hi, Blair. Hi, we're just reminiscing here in the last few minutes, just reminiscing.
Yeah, talking about family stuff and just
talking about how Jay got his name.
Birthday. She turned 69, and on September 12th, if I live that long, I will be 60 years old, which is
there you go. Just a baby in the woods.
I cannot believe 60 years old is just, oh my God. It's, there wasn't very long ago, 60 years old felt like a senior citizen, felt like,
you are
years old, 60 years old. Oh my
God. Get them discounts now, I'm telling you. Get them.
60 years old, good God. And yeah, that's what we've been doing, Blair. It just kind of, we didn't have any plans about what we were going to talk about. A few things Kathy had in mind,
Yeah, I
But
got some things. Yeah.
we just kind of started talking about, or she did, started talking about family stuff. And so why not? Let's talk about family stuff. Um, and
Well, Jay had one idea of how he got his name, and I was 9 years old and actually in the room when they named him. So I'm like, I let him tell his story, which was wrong, but that's okay. That's okay.
you told me you told the right story.
And I just filled you in.
And I still have it in a scrapbook somewhere because the I don't know if they still have them, but the local library had old Mahan newspapers. It used to be the Mahan Daily News. It used to be every day for weekends or
Yeah.
Saturdays and Sundays. Now it's just the Mahan News because it's like 3 days a week or something. But it used to be Mahan Daily News, and they had a bunch of back in the '60s and stuff. Mahan Daily News that you could check out.
Newspapers, old newspapers.
So I looked up my birthday announcement, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it's Reel's announced birth of baby daughter.
Yeah. About 9 years too late, but I
And
wasn't born there anyway.
what was odd about that is the headline says Reel's announced birth of baby daughter, but in the actual article, they got it right that it was a son. Yeah, named him Jay Reel, so I'm like, well, apparently there were two people in charge of this article, one to write the headline and one to actually write the article. Apparently there were two people involved in this because my birth announcement was baby daughter.
Well, the proofreader was maybe doing a little drinking that day.
So the announcement was a baby. I was a baby daughter, but the actual article got it right that it was a son. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and when you see, we lived in this community at the time. We were this was 65, right? We were some of the few families that are actually in this little community, and they go every day they'd see mother was huge, right? So every day they'd come to the little concession stand, the store, like a little country store we had, and say, we want to know when the baby's born. We want to know when the baby's born. And Daddy said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. They wanted to know if it's a boy or a girl because back then you didn't know. And so Daddy said, okay, I really didn't know till you got there. That's why they waited to name you. They need to pick out names. But anyway, he said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get two or three of these big round bamboo poles, and I'm going to tape them together, and I'm going to tie either a yellow rag to it, or I'm going to tie a blue rag to it. And he made this holder for it in the ground. In fact, he poured cement and made a round holder to stick it down in. And he was very industrious. Our dad could build anything at the time. And he says, so as soon as a boy child's born, I'll come, after I see him, spend time with him, it's time for me to go home. Let my wife rest. I'll put whatever it is on that pole and hang it up. And Daddy said he went home and he, went out to a shop and tied that bright blue, baby blue piece of material to it. And he said he went and stuck it out in the ground out there in front of the concession. Well, it's in the little courtyard we have beside it. Sorry, I got to dismiss this alarm. Anyway, and he said all of a sudden, like people were staying home waiting to see. Well, a lot of retirement people out there too. He said horns started honking all over the place. You could hear it for a couple of miles away. He said it was just almost like you going in and out of a sports arena and you're honking at people to get out of your way. Honk, 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 honk. And he said one lady come down through the lake, just a hollering, "It's a boy, it's a boy." And her little V bottom boat, and waving at Daddy, and of course then Daddy said he couldn't hardly get away from the concession to go home, take a shower, and get ready, and come back up there that evening to see the baby. Have him take insulin, sorry y'all. Anyway, because he said the gifts started pouring in. people would bake meals back in the day and bring them over. So, that could be frozen that mama didn't have to worry about cooking once she got home. Gifts for the baby, blankets and clothes. And he said, Daddy said, I finally put a couple of wooden bins I had out by the back door and said, gone to see the baby. And they just started putting the gifts in there. Be back tonight. I think that's what he said. And anyway, I was staying with my aunt and uncle, Uncle Buck and Aunt Dorothy that lived in town, and Johnny and Joy. So anyway, that was cool. I said, what? That was very nice of them. I mean, so that's what people did back then. And they did for families. And funerals they do for families too, y'all. I'm telling you. They'd come and visit after a funeral and bring all kinds of food and stuff. They don't do that no more.
You always ate really good at a funeral when there was a funeral. Someone died.
Or a birth.
And
a birth.
A lot of fried chicken. My goodness. I never ate more fried chicken. Most fried chicken I ever ate in my life was when my daddy passed away. Everybody bought fried chicken. Everybody.
It was just easy. And, they're not going to bring McDonald's.
The place that Anna Nicole Smith used to work at.
Just turned 50 years. I saw their sign.
What, Crispy's?
Yeah. Jim's Crispy Chicken.
Yeah, Jim's. But yeah, fried chicken. There'll be a few other, bring some pies and a few other things, but that was the biggest thing, was fried chicken.
Well, it'd feed a lot cheaply. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get a big old bucket, a couple of buckets of chicken, or boxes. They didn't have buckets. Boxes of chicken. Their chicken's still good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still good. I don't have much to compare it to, except for they're just very seldom occasions I'll eat at a different chicken place. But
yeah.
If I eat chicken, that's usually where I get it, is the Jim's Crispy.
And it's a local. And y'all lost your Burger King. Now, me and you ate at that Burger King a few times.
Well, the people to stop coming, but it was run very shittily. Pardon my French, but it was run badly. It took forever to get your food, and it was management is what killed Burger King in my head. Man,
oh yeah, Starbucks still there.
Starbucks is still there, and it's thriving. I mean, we go to town with my neighbors, the Loves or Tommy, and there'd be a pretty long line, there waiting to get coffee, and there'd be quite a few cars out there, but people inside the building. Yeah. And that's the last thing in the world I thought would survive in Bahia, Texas.
I knew it would.
People buying $6 cups of coffee. Yep.
Well, you'd be hard pressed to find $700,000-$800,000 homes in the community of Bahia, Texas, which is, I think, right around 6,000, maybe a little under. But people buy land and retire out that way, and there are some really nice, big, expensive houses built in the counties. You know what I mean? So, heck yeah. And I mean, I would go to Starbucks. I had one near where I live for too many years. And I would go by Starbucks once or twice a week, sometimes 3-4 times a week, just depends, So I love Starbucks. Are you kidding me? Because I like the different flavors, Now, I drink strictly Folgers in my cup at home with my creamer and my Splenda. But let me tell you what, put out a new vanilla latte flavor. At Starbucks, I want to try it. At least try it.
I like Starbucks. I mean, of course, it's so damn expensive. But
oh yeah,
sometimes I go, if I'm going to get and spend that kind of money on coffee, I want a bunch of shit in it. I want whipped cream and sprinkles and caramel swirl and all kinds of shit. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, I want a bunch of shit in it.
There you go.
And there's Sean. Property taxes are getting crazy.
They are. Yeah.
That's something that I've been lucky with, is my property taxes have been I think it was under $200 last year.
That's good. Yeah. Didn't you pay $300 at one time though?
Yeah, around 3. When Mama was alive, it would be around $300. But when she passed away, I don't know if it had anything to do with me getting on disability, if it had anything to do with why my property taxes aren't high. But
I don't think it has dilly squatty doodle broody,
but
to do with it.
But yeah, good to see you, Sean, and Blair, if you're still there, Blair. But anyway, let's talk about Donald Trump real quick.
Can I do it? Can I do it?
You can do it, but people that have watched my show, that maybe that you've heard me refer to, about the only thing I collect is Batmobile Hot Wheels, or anything that's Batman related. So it might be a bat plane or a bat cop, a bat copter, or bat bike or whatever. But mainly it's Batmobiles. And the company that puts out Hot Wheels is Mattel. And our president had something interesting to say about Mattel. So
yes, and I watched several news stations, but I happened to be on BBC and this morning, and the BBC News, well, actually it was yesterday, not today. The news conference said President Donald Trump from the United States quoted, "Mattel is a country who is considering counter tariffs. That's okay," he says. "Let him go. We'll put 100% tariffs on his toys. And I wouldn't even elect him to be a CEO of any company of mine." He thought it was a country. And I was telling Jay this morning, and Jay's like, "Well, are you sure? I said, I seen him doing it, Jay.
Well, I had to Google that because, there are a lot of people who have a lot of things to say about Donald Trump. And I thought, well, but let me Google that. Yep, there's video of him calling Mattel a country. So there you go.
Things you thought you'd never hear from a president is where I roam with him. Yeah, you go.
Yeah. So.
I'm
all for it, because I'm all for giving Mattel high tariffs, because they haven't put out a new Batmobile in quite some time. I'm upset about that. So tariff the hell out of them.
No. Now they're not a country. You can't tariff a country. I mean, you can't tariff a toy manufacturer. Listen, he won't sell one toy in the United States. He said, because I put 100% tariff on him. And the CEO of Mattel, Jan Kreiz, I believe, Kreiz, he announced the company is going to shift manufacturing to any other country in the world but the U.S. So there you go. Maybe you'll get you some more Batmobiles, honey.
Oh, but no, I do not, Sean, have every Batmobile. That would be cool to have. But they started doing that, I think, probably with the old the 60s TV show. They probably started putting out, Hot Wheels. And I've got quite a few. I probably have a couple of hundred. But no, I don't have every one. I imagine a lot of those were probably worth some money. I might have some that are worth some money. But no,
well, you don't.
It'd be cool to have one, but I don't have every one.
And you don't open them, right?
I don't open them. No, I keep them, and I put a little tag on the wall.
Well, I was standing there looking at that wall. Now I hadn't been to CJ in 2 years, but I was standing there looking at that wall when I spent one of the nights with you, and I'm looking at it and looking at it, and I remember saying, "Jay, are these all Batman?" And you said
Batman related, like I say,
right, like helicopters and stuff.
But most of them are Batmobiles.
I thought that was cool.
And Sean says, "I always see adults digging through Hot Wheels at Wally World looking for the expensive ones." Well, my late friend Barry was real big into getting Hot Wheels, collecting Hot Wheels. They're just Hot Wheels in general, not Batmobiles, but just any kind of Hot Wheel. And about a year before he passed away, he decided he was going to, whittle them down and get rid of them. And it was them big plastic tubs, with the lids. There was like 2 dozen of them or something like that. Just my God, thousands and thousands and thousands of Hot Wheels. He gave a bunch of them away. He gave a bunch to the local Caritas, which is kind of like Goodwill.
That's nice. So the little kids could get some.
But I said, no, man, let's make some money. And so back when I was on Facebook, there's a marketplace, and there's a place where you can sell local stuff, in Bahia and Groesbeck and stuff. And I listed the Hot Wheels, and we sold a bunch of them. There was a guy, one guy in particular, that would come and buy a bunch of those Hot Wheels. And we, I don't know, a quarter a piece or something like that, because there was just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. So we made a little money. I made a little money. He made a little money. But yeah, Barry, way up until he passed away, even though he was getting rid of a bunch of them, he would still go to Walmart and look at them and buy some. But sometimes he would spend $60, $70.
Well, I serve the same.
At one time.
Right.
Of Hot Wheels,
Yeah.
And yeah, he was in his 50s when he passed away. So yeah.
But he didn't really get to enjoy them, I don't think.
He couldn't, because he had so many of them. There's no way he could display them or really look at them. He just got them.
So it was a thrill of the hunt more than anything.
Yeah, I told Barry, I said, you're a getter. You're not an appreciator. You're just getting. And I said, you need to stop that. Get the kind of money you're spending on those things. You need to stop that, because you're not enjoying them. You're just throwing them in a tub and just putting a lid on them, and they're not really going to be worth anything for another 20 years or something. They're not going to, most of them aren't going to appreciate in value by too much, where you can turn them over and make some money. But you need to stop that, because he'd run out of room to put them in.
Well, that was his hobby, was buying them Hot Wheels, and he retired from the States, so he had a little money. Come on now,
Yeah, a little more than $1, Sean. Yeah, a little over $1. And whenever I go to Walmart, that's one of the things I do, is I go to the toy section. I look at the Hot Wheels and see if they got any new Batman.
And the Dollar Tree.
Well, Dollar Tree doesn't have much. But yeah, Walmart mainly is where I do my shopping. If I'm going to buy Batmobiles.
Notably, 75% toys are sold in the U.S. come from China.
Yeah, well, what is it? It was 125% tariff or something. I don't know, some big tariffs that Trump has got.
I think 175 is what he first announced, but they're working and negotiating.
You guys that have watched my channel have known that I've opened up Temu stuff and shown off the Temu stuff I got. Well, I've quit Temu.
Temu's quit the U.S. Did you know that? You can't buy Temu.
Yeah, but I'm looking into it, because Temu has stopped selling the Chinese stuff, and it's all American stuff now. So they don't have to pay the tariffs.
Right, but you have to pay $2.99.
Yeah, but I think up until like $30, if you spend like $30, then you get the free shipping.
Really? Okay, yeah. So they're doing a local warehouse.
It's like local sellers. Selling through Temu, and a lot of them have that. If you spend $30, then you get free shipping. You have a minimum that you spend.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Well, I'll look into it, because there's still a few things that I'd like to get, but it used to be free shipping across the board, and that's
and they're not shipping from China anymore.
And they're not shipping from China.
Temu and Shein. I bought from Temu, but I never bought from Shein, and I didn't buy a huge amount from Temu. I guess first year I was here in my apartment, I bought maybe up to $70, $80 worth of stuff from Temu, which I needed and used, because I had to rebuild my household. And from the accusations to arrest to now selecting of the jurors for the Sean Combs Diddy trial, I've been following it. I've been following it.
I'm going to go piece. I'll talk about that.
Okay. He's got to go to the party. Okay. So anyway, I've been following the Diddy trial. And as a young 15-year-old, Justin Bieber had spent the weekend with Diddy and quite a bit of time recording with Diddy, trying to get on Bad Boy's record label. I don't know if he ever made it, but now he is set to testify against Diddy. Now, I don't know what he's going to say, but Diddy is on trial for racketeering, sextortion. In other words, I'll give you a career, but you're going to have to join my sex parties, holding stuff over people, drugging people with they didn't know they was drugged, all kinds of counts. And he has been in prison 2-3 months. Well, I think they raided his houses in November, and it wasn't very long after that they picked him up. So he's been there for a little while. In Manhattan, he's in a, can't think of the name of the thing. I ought to know. I've heard it enough. But anyway, he's got 7 attorneys, and they had picked 45 people, and now they're weeding through each side, yay or nay, whether they're going to let those attorneys go through. Anyway, there is 6 women on the prosecution side that are going to try to prosecute him. And hey, and he's got one witness that there was, they showed where he beat her to death and dragged her back to his apartment. She didn't die, but he was beating her and kicking her and all this mess and dragging her by the hair back to a room in a hotel.
Diddy caused a baby oil shortage in the U.S.
And Sean, they said that a lot of that baby oil was contaminated with GHB or P, date rape drug. And I'm thinking, what kept him from overdosing? He took a lot of drugs during those freak offs. But anyway, there is so many different counts. Even if just one sticks, and Cassie Ventura was his girlfriend for like 10 years, and they broke up, and he paid her like I think $32 million or something afterwards, and she is one of the lead witnesses for the prosecution, because she was front row seat to see what all went on. You know what I'm saying, man? Sometimes he'd beat her so bad, allegedly, that they'd put his team would have to put her up in hotels and get doctors come in and treat her until she got healed up enough to be seen publicly. Now ain't that something? But anyway, allegedly, yeah.
There's so many instances where people, once they get a lot of money, do some really bad things. Something about power and having a lot of money just seems to turn some people into like monsters. It just twists
them, don't it?
It just twists them, goodness, I mean, I've always thought, and of course, I'll have no way to really prove this, but I've always thought that if I ever got a lot of money, won the lottery or something like that, the main thing I would do with that money is give it away.
Give it away now.
Give it away now, yeah. I would keep enough to stay comfortable, get me a nice house built, and I would invest some of it to make sure that I'm going to be comfortable and stay comfortable. And the rest of it, I would give away, and buy people things and give them money and whatever, because what good is it just sitting there, what good is wealth if you don't spread it and give it away?
Well, that's why there's, Bill Gates is setting it up to where he's giving away $200 billion and to charities.
Yeah.
Okay. Now he's doing that now because he said, "Don't worry about me now. I'll be okay."
Well, yeah. No, I would take care of me first.
Right. 200. It is billion. I'm sorry. 200 billion. He says.
I would just I'd give it away or buy people
Share
things,
the wealth.
wars or whatever, just because what good is money just sitting there? Just,
Yeah.
it's what wealth is something that you should spread. And,
Yeah, and if you'd like to, send it to jreal at.
yeah. Well, I still need a new laptop to edit movies. I haven't worked on my movie yet. The list. I still want to make the list, and then I want to do either another comedy or a horror movie or a horror comedy. But I still want to do the list. That is a story that I want to tell. That's something that I have dealt with to an extent. Kathy has dealt with, and it's just a story I want to tell and get that out of my system. But then I want to have some more fun, like with She Made a Monster. I want to make a comedy
I love that. I love that. Not just because I had a little short cameo where I didn't say nothing in that, but I love She Made a Monster. I liked it better than what was it, Christina or Christine or
Crystal.
I didn't care for that one that much.
Yeah, I mean, I like Crystal, but yeah, She Made a Monster is still my favorite. That and Dawn are my two favorite.
Dawn, thank you very much. Yeah, Dawn.
She Made a Monster. I still watch it. I got it.
I see it the other day.
Sometimes at night I'll just watch that damn thing because it's silly and it's
so
funny,
cute
and it's cute and it's stupid and it's just a lot of fun to me. She Made a Monster is just a lot of fun. Even though I made it, I have fun.
Well, no, it's a sweet little story.
And I don't know anything about R. Kelly, Sean. They want to know if it did times worse.
Yeah, apparently he did a lot of trafficking. So they're putting him right up there with they're putting him above R. Kelly. Are you kidding me? What R. Kelly did is just a tiny little portion of what they got Diddy from, and what for. In other words, trafficking, prostitutes, trafficking women that were drugged and just taken off and done to these freak off parties. Lots of money was involved in all this. Well, that's where they're getting him on racketeering, or they got charges allegedly. But anyway, oh no, R. Kelly, honey, at least R. Kelly had a little talent. I don't think P. Diddy had any talent. But anyway, that's just my opinion. But no, that what they got against him, if he don't go down for this, when they were talking about the jurors that got off, when the judge said, okay, here's your jury questionnaire, you filled it out, let's talk. Why don't you want to be on this jury? Because everybody's seen P. Diddy in the news and that he got busted and stuff like that, and even the raids on his house. But one juror said, well, I believe he is rich enough. I think they said he's worth in the $400 billion range. He can buy himself out of this. So the judge said, dismiss. One guy said, I can't stay awake. He said, well, do you have narcolepsy? The judge said. And the guy said, no, but I've been watching Star Wars marathons. I don't think I could stay awake.
Well, was it May the 4th? And
may the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. So
was it the 4th or the 5th?
The 4th.
Okay.
I believe it's the 4th because like the Force, may the Force be with you is the 4th. Yeah.
Oh, all right, I'll give it to you.
But and it was, I don't know if it was the Amazon channel or something like that, but they added the Star Wars movies here recently.
Well, man, he's busy, And one little old lady had my excuse, and it is a medical excuse. Okay. She could, because they expect this trial may be going on 4 months or more. They don't know. There's so much evidence. And y'all, the thing about the Diddy, they found hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of film that he had filmed during these freak-offs and these white parties and these birthday parties. He filmed all that crap. He filmed it for his own personal vault. And the feds have all that. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Now, if they don't put him under a jail somewhere and keep him there, something ain't right with the world. Because there is so much, Sean, there's so much they have against him. It could go, the indictment now that put him in jail, and they say he's a flight risk, and is one reason they won't let him out on bail. But another reason is they think he'll go after the witnesses, which he probably would, But anyway, and she said, no, he's not getting out. But anyway, they have the indictment. You know how you'll read a page or two saying, okay, we're indicting you for this. It was 40 pages long, allegedly. 40 pages. Are you kidding me? Oh, my Lord. This is never going to end. So even if they just get him on a nugget of that, he's gone. He's going to be somewhere underground. I got a film and a TV thing to tell you.
Well, let me say a film, since you brought up film. I watched this last night and really enjoyed it. It's on Netflix. I think it started yesterday on Netflix. Heart Eyes.
Wait. Don't leave me. Spell it. Heart?
Heart. Heart Eyes.
Okay, I'm with you now.
And it's a slasher film. It's a horror movie slasher film, but it's kind of a comedic slasher horror film. And I really usually don't like romantic comedy kind of things. That just really isn't my jam. There's a few that I like, but I really like the couple in Hard Eyes. They were funny, and I like the lines they say. I like the actors that played them. I enjoyed their chemistry. And Hard Eye, and it's the Hard Eyes slasher. And he's got a mask and for the eyes, he's got two hearts. And at night, they'll glow red. And he kills people. But mainly, he kills couples, romantic, like people about to get married or people out on a date, a male and female. He'll kill them. And that's his MO, is killing couples. But it's a Valentine's Day that he does his killing.
Oh.
He's a Valentine's Day slasher. Hard Eyes. But I recommend it.
You liked it? Yeah.
Yeah, it came out last year, I think. But I really enjoyed it. Yeah. That's what I definitely would recommend. If you like slasher films, if you like horror movies, but it's more fun, than really scary.
Yeah.
Good gore stuff. If you're a gore fan, it's got some good gore stuff. Good kills in it, bloody kills, and it's fun, and it's funny, and yeah, Heart Eyes. So there you go. That's my movie recommendation. Go see Heart Eyes. So,
yeah. In pre-production, M. Night Shyamalan. Is that how you say his name?
Shyamalan.
There you go. He's got a new film that's starring Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's called Remain. Remain. And he co-wrote it with Nicholas Sparks, that does all the women's. Nicholas Sparks wrote The Notebook, all the romance stories, but they worked on this together, apparently. And it's going to be a psychological thriller, which is my jam. Give me true crime docs, give me psychological thriller movies, books, podcasts. Yay, buddy. That's my jam. And then Yellowstone spinoff, which I was excited to see, but it doesn't say when it's going to be released, but I think October-ish. There's been I like Yellowstone. I watched it. The sequel's called Marshals, and it returns of Luke Grimes that played Casey in Yellowstone, and it's not written by Taylor Sheridan, which wrote Yellowstone and Landman and so many other greats right now. It's not written by him this time, but CBS has ordered 13 episodes. So I'm anxious to see it when it comes out. Yeah. And then I was going to ask you real quickly. Let's see. Hulu has released 10 movies to watch. Now, I think these are either horror or they are horror-ish. And I thought I'd start with them unless there's something you want to say right now. And then I want to get your okay. I was going to say I want to get your opinion because some of them I know you know. The first one is Appendage. It's pretty new. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen that. No, I've heard of it, but no, I haven't seen that. Not yet.
I've watched some of it and it's really good. I hadn't finished watching it. And then the second one is Bad Milo.
It's a guy that's got a creature up his ass, and it's funny. It's funny. It gets kind of stupid though. I watched it. I enjoyed it. It's not something I'll go back to.
Yeah.
But this guy, basically, it's a man that's got some kind of a creature up his butthole.
He looks like a little rubber dummy looking thing.
And he crawls back up his butt. You know, he'll go and kill somebody, then crawl back up his butt. So it's stupid as hell, but yeah, it's I enjoyed it. You know, it's not something I'm going to go back to and watch probably, but yeah.
And then Goke, Goke, or Gok, however you say that, Body Snatcher from Hell.
No, I haven't seen that.
Malignant. Have you seen Malignant?
I may have.
Yeah, these I think are horror.
Describe the plot to me. I've heard of it. I may have seen Malignant, but I don't know.
What about Slither with all the snakes?
Oh yeah, that's a lot of fun. Slither's a lot of fun. These kind of wormy snake-looking creatures.
They look like little red-looking things.
Yeah, that's a fun movie though. Slither's fun.
I don't like snakes. Will it freak me out?
It might freak you. They're not really snakes. They're kind of, I think maybe I don't know if they're from another planet or whatever, but they're creatures that are snake-like, but they're not snakes.
Number 6 is Brain Damage.
Well, now it depends, because I think there's another movie called Brain Damage, but the one that I really like was the guy that directed Basket Case directed it, and it's this little creature, kind of speaking of snake, kind of looks like a little snake, and he talks, and he injects some fluid into this man's head where he can see, like LSD. He can see, pretty colors and stuff. In exchange, he finds people for this little snake creature to suck their brain.
Yeah, I think that was the premise of this. Apparently,
yeah. I love Brain Damage. It's by the guy that made Frank Henenlotter, who made Basket Case.
Basket Case, yeah.
I really like Brain Damage.
Disembodied is number 7. Disembodied.
I don't think
no. 8 is Hatching.
I don't think so.
9 is Rabid.
Rabid, yeah. If I'm thinking of it, this is a David Cronenberg film, and Rabid. But yeah, it goes way back, like the late 70s, early 80s, something like that. Rabid, yeah.
Cop from 1988. Is that the name of the movie? I love James Woods.
No, I don't think I've seen it.
I want to see it. Sean recommended it.
I'd recommend called Cop from 1980. James.
From 1980. Okay, I'll look it up. Then French horror film Baby Blood.
That's another one I've heard of, but I don't think I've seen.
Now you can see all of these now streaming on Hulu.
What I watched a few days ago, and it's one of those because old Wes of Dead Pit had a DVD set that he was reviewing, and it's one of those what the fuck movies, and it's called The Coffee Table, and yeah, It's on Shudder. I won't. It's one I can't really talk about it because I would spoil stuff. I don't want to spoil it. But if you like horror movies, if you like movies that really go for it, and really go there as far as something really kind of repulsive and extreme, The Coffee Table. And it's Spanish. You have to read subtitles. It's Spanish, but it's one of those WTF movies. It's like, oh shit, yeah.
What I watch? What's that?
Yeah, The Coffee Table. I definitely recommend that if you're into movies that kind of go to the extreme. Yeah, look up The Coffee Table. It's on Shudder. So
Yeah.
and
Anything else you recommend?
Nothing is coming to me right now. I'm trying to think of as I said, I've been watching Hard Eyes last night, and Black Mirror, the series is on Netflix. I'm still working through that, but there's been several of those of the current season that I've really enjoyed. Black Mirror.
With the Black Mirror series, there was been one or two or some that have been interactive, where you can interact with them somehow. I don't know how, but Netflix is stopping the interaction. In other words, they're like, no, it's not working the way they wanted it to work.
It's sort of a Twilight Zone-ish kind of series. They're all individual stories. It began as being mostly kind of a science fiction slant, but with this current season, there's one involving a werewolf that's really good. They get more like little horror movies. It's not all science fiction stuff. They really mix it up this season, and there've been several episodes I've really enjoyed of the current season of Black Mirror, and I'm still working through the current season. So
last season was good. I watched nearly all of them.
I've liked all the seasons, but this current season mixes it up more because it was slanted more science fiction.
Yeah.
But this season's been more getting, like I say, there's one involving a werewolf that's really good, more like little horror films, and there's one that's I forget the actor's name, but it gets really emotional where this guy can go back into previous memories, and that one was really good. But anyway, yeah, Black Mirror. And I'm thinking, I sent him a message. I don't know if I've heard back from him or not. The next thing that I was going to do with Brandon. And I suggested we talk about the director, William Friedkin, and the stuff that he's done. But I need to catch up on several of his films. Of course, he directed The Exorcist. But he was really good director. He passed away, I think, last year. Really good director. A lot of his movies I really like. And there's movies I need to catch up on first, before we would do the show. To Live and Die in L.A., I think that's on the Amazon channel. I've got that on my watch list. I don't think I've ever seen Cruising. But he's you can rent it for like $4. I'm going to watch Cruising with Al Pacino. And the plot is really kind of goes there because it's a serial killer that's targeting gay nightclub men. That
gosh.
It's during the 70s.
Yeah.
Late 70s, early 80s, I forget. But Cruising. And it's Al Pacino. He's a cop, but he goes undercover and he poses as a gay nightclub dude to try to uncover this killer that's killing the gay men.
Yeah.
So he plays gay, Al Pacino pretends to be gay or whatever, and I don't think I've ever seen Cruising, but I've
never seen it. I've heard of it. I have heard of it because I'm a big Pacino.
You can rent it for like $4. I'll go ahead and spend the money and rent it. But To Live and Die in L.A., that's part of, you don't have to pay for that. I want to watch that. And he did a TV adaptation of 12 Angry Men.
Huh.
That I've never even heard of. That I found that on Tubi, and I got that on my watch list. I'm anxious to see that because I really like the old movie, the old black and white film, 12 Angry Men. I really like that. And anxious to see what William Friedkin did with these stories, but he did a TV movie of 12 Angry Men that he directed. And of course, Sorcerer, and what was it? Killer Joe with Matthew McConaughey is really good. Bug, which is one of those WTF movies.
I like Bug, yeah.
That's another what the fuck movie, Bug, about a guy that thinks there's bugs crawling under his skin and shit, and but that's really good. But anyway, I think that's what I would like to do is talk about him, talk about William Friedkin, and talk about his movies. Because Brandon says The Exorcist is his favorite movie, The Exorcist. It's right up there at the top for me. Jaws is my favorite, but that might be number 2. The Exorcist may be number 2. I don't know. But anyway, talk about William Friedkin and talk about his stuff. So, it hasn't been confirmed yet by Brandon, but that's what I suggested. Is our next show we talk about William Friedkin. So.
Well, then you also talked about you may do some one on westerns.
Yeah. But that's another one that I'd want to catch up on some westerns and watch them. Before we would do the show, I would want to watch some more. But I love westerns.
I do too. Refresh, right?
We grew up watching John Wayne. Daddy loved John Wayne, so we grew up watching John Wayne and watching those movies. If there was any western on TV, Daddy always watched it. And then in the TV series, of course, Gunsmoke, Bonanza. There was a show called High Chaparral that Daddy really liked.
Oh, I loved High Chaparral. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Well, that just lasted like a year or two, but Daddy really liked that show.
The Big Valley.
Yeah, Big Valley. The Rifleman. Oh gosh, Daddy loved all those westerns. Daddy loved those westerns.
Well, they were good. The Tales of Wells Fargo. It's filmed in black and white because it's older than I am. Okay, really close. And it's so good. I got to watching it one night on Pluto.
Yeah, I still, like every other day or so, I'll turn to Pluto TV, and they've got the old TV shows. They've got Beverly Hillbillies, and the Addams Family, and the Munsters, but they've got Gunsmoke. And I love Gunsmoke. I always loved Gunsmoke with James Harness as Matt Dillon. And of course Festus. And
I seen him in person. Festus Kenneth. Anyway, I seen him at the fair.
Curtis.
And Curtis, yeah.
And it was the old days. It was Chester, but then it became Festus. But anyway, let me catch up on some comments here. Sam Gloves. Hey, everyone. Hey, Sam.
Hey, Sam.
I like gloves. I don't. Okay.
I like gloves too.
I like to stay and watch the live stream if people wears disposable gloves, disposable plastic gloves, rubber gloves, cleaning gloves, surgical gloves on both hands just for me while you're live streaming.
Well, now let me tell you about gloves. I like gloves too. I keep disposable gloves in my kitchen drawer, not the rubber kind. I do have a pair of those I wash dishes with because if I don't, I get hell of a hangnails because I have to hand wash my dishes, right? Well, so I keep that, the rubber ones that go up to you here, kitchen gloves, dishwashing, but I keep disposable gloves. I get low, I'll buy me another box of them that I wear when I take my trash out to lift the lids and throw the trash in the trash can and the recycling can. Use about twice a week. That's not the only time I wear them. I wear disposable gloves when I'm repotting plants to reach in and grab the dirt and put in my pots. I've repotted a bunch of plants lately. So I wear them for that too, and I think it's funny that you mentioned gloves,
Well, he's got a channel about gloves, Sam says.
Oh,
no. He loves gloves, and his channel is about gloves. So if you want to watch gloves, you can tune in Sam's channel.
So it's Sam Gloves.
Sam Gloves. So there you go.
Okay. Well, I will do it. I will do it because
Well, they're cheap. You get like, I don't know, like
I got like
half a
50
dozen
in a
down here at
box.
Walmart, and I'm like, if I'm doing clearing, brush and limbs and stuff, I wear gloves, and they've got these little black little rubber dots on them, that help hold stuff, I guess.
Well, so you're getting like garden gloves.
Yeah, garden glove. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we're talking about the rubber
yeah. I know what
glove, disposable glove, like the nurses wear at the hospitals. Yeah. Well, I'll check out your channel, Sam. I had to close my channel, and I was doing good. I had 150 followers, and people were interacting with me. I couldn't do live stream. I had to just record, put it up, and then answer people's questions that way. But I have a mentally ill family member that found me and was stalking my channel, so I just had to shut it down to protect myself, my grandkids, my daughter, her family, because this person's very unstable. So I had to shut it down. And lately I'm thinking, man, every time I walk in the living room and I pass by my big light and my tripod, look, I want another channel. So I might I'm thinking on it. Thinking on starting another channel. I'm really thinking right on it. I will never monetize it, but I thought it would be fun to have one again.
Yeah, of course, this isn't monetized, but yeah, okay. Well, I guess we'll kind of wind down here. This has been another good week. And talk about a lot of family stuff, and Donald Trump's after Mattel. Gonna.
And Mattel saying that's okay, don't worry about it. But we're manufacturing outside of the United States and nowhere in the U.S.
We got an American Pope, so that's interesting. From Chicago, a Pope.
And when he did his first mass, he did it primarily in Italian, but he did speak some English, which is the first as well.
Yeah. And pretty weather. We've had the last couple of weeks have been stormy. A few days ago, there was like 4 or 5 tornadoes, close by. Now there were them little F1 tornadoes or F0 where, like 80 mile per hour wind, 100 mile per hour wind. So what they call pop-up tornadoes, little spin-up tornadoes, I'm like, motherfucker, it's a tornado. That's all it is to me. Yeah. It's a tornado. I don't know. They talk like it's no big deal. Oh, it's just a little spin-up tornado. Don't worry about it. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm going to worry about it if it's a damn tornado. But we didn't get any tornadoes, but there was some pretty close by. There's some kind of close to Groesbeck and down south. There was a few little spin-up tornadoes. So it was stormy. Last week was all stormy. There were several days.
It's cloudy here today. It's cloudy right now.
And there's a little 30% chance of little sprinkled type storms this evening. But they said nothing severe. It'll just be rain, It might sprinkle on you a little bit, but it won't be any really accumulation. Nothing bad. Tomorrow's like a 10% chance, and then from then on, it's like clear.
So that's good.
It's some pretty weather, but after Mother's Day, it's going to start getting hot. There like a few days, they say we might have a heat index close to 100. And so, yeah, we're entering that time of year where it's going to get hot in Texas and hot. So I had to start turning my damn air conditioner on. I uncovered it, and I had it covered up for the wintertime. I uncovered it, got it ready to turn on. I haven't turned it on yet, but
so you can get your house to a comfortable 80 degrees.
Yeah, comfortable 80 degrees, 85 degrees. Yeah.
Okay, I can handle that. I cannot do it.
Either too hot or too cold. For most people.
Yeah, for humans.
I stand it okay, but for most normal people, it's either too hot or too cold.
Yeah.
But
if you need to go in a sauna, just go to Jay's house and go inside.
Anyway, let me thank everyone that showed up. Blair and Sean and Sam Gloves. Got a new one, Sam Gloves.
Cool.
I
Thank
like
you.
gloves.
Please give us a
I
thumbs
wouldn't do
up.
a show just about gloves, but I like gloves.
I think it'd be cool to watch. Yeah.
Okay.
Please give us a thumbs up if you
Please
like
give
it.
us a thumbs up.
Yeah.
And I need to hear back from Brandon, but I'm thinking we'll do a director profile for the next show. But we'll see.
And you,
I'll have to wait and see what Brandon says.
that's your prime time shows.
And the prime time, the 7 o'clock show, or 7 Central, 8 Eastern. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking William Friedkin, the director. But I need to catch up to some movies I need to rewatch or watch for the first time, and kind of catch up on his stuff. And of course, The Exorcist. That's an all-time classic, one of the best movies ever made. And yeah, so I'm sure we'll have plenty to say. We already have talked about The Exorcist, but we'll talk some more about The Exorcist, I'm sure. But yeah, thank you everybody that showed up. Please give us a thumbs up. Thank you, Kathy, for playing with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And y'all have a good day, and we will see you soon. And yeah. Sean, but it's Sam Gloves. He says he likes gloves, and he has a channel where he talks about gloves. So there you go. That's what the glove stuff is. Yeah. I'm about doing what you enjoy doing. As long as you're not hurting anybody, have fun doing what you enjoy doing. And Sam Gloves likes gloves, and he apparently likes talking about gloves. So there you go. I pass no judgment. So, but yeah, guys, thank y'all for showing up today. We will see you soon. Please hit that thumbs up, and y'all have a good day, and y'all take care of each other. Be nice to each other. Bye-bye.